Good evening,
Uh,
ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Vision 3 Diaries podcast. I am joined by the lovely Maddie Bell from Dean College. So, Maddie, why don't you give yourself a quick introduction to the fans?
Hi, I'm Maddie Bell. I am a DS libero from New Milford, Connecticut. I currently go to Dean College and I'm a freshman.
Lovely, lovely. So, obviously, we both mentioned that you go to Dean,
Mhm.
which is a liberal arts school located in Mass. So, why don't you explain why you chose Dean, what stuck out about it academically, athletically, how the coach influenced your decision? Just kind of go through that process with us.
Yeah, so during my junior year of high school, I knew that I wanted to take volleyball seriously and I wanted to go to that next level, but I also knew that education was a priority first, and I just wanted to do something fun. So I started researching schools, and Dean actually came up as one of them, and I was like, "Oh, this is really close to home, but it's far enough away where I can get away and explore like my different options." And I knew that I wanted a very small school. I'm not a very big school person, so Dean has academically all the things that I need. It had my major. It had professors that are extremely supportive, especially as an athlete. They're very supportive. Um, with my recruiting journey, actually, it's very funny. I post on my volleyball account garage videos where I would basically do ball control drills in my garage. And I went to an exact showcase at my previous club, and my current coach was there. And he came up to me. He was like, "Are you garage girl?" And I was like, "What do you mean, garage girl?" He was like, "You're the girl who always posts videos in your garage, like doing ball control." I was like, "That's crazy that you know me by that." And at the end of the exact showcase, I had asked a question. I was like, "How do you stand out to coaches?" And he immediately said, "Well, can I share your story?" And to the whole showcase, he said, "I know her as Garage Girl only because she posts ball control videos in her garage." And to this day, I am known as Garage Girl. And by any of those coaches, they still don't know my real name. They only know me as Garage Girl, which is really funny. But I made that connection with him and I immediately like loved him, loved what he was doing at Dean. I went on my official visit in August, going into my senior year, and that was it. I knew where I wanted to go. So,
I mean, in terms of why you chose Dean, very similar story to me with when I originally chose Bard, small school, high academic. But I do have to ask, have you seen any of those coaches, other coaches, since that, I guess, interaction? And have they ever like gone up to you and said, "Oh, hey, what's up, Garage Girl?" Like, has that ever happened to you?
yeah, so actually, after that showcase, I was at Winterfest in Hartford for a tournament, and I went up to one of the coaches, and he was like, "Oh my God, Garage Girl." And it was the funniest interaction ever. And I've seen other coaches and they still probably don't know me by my real name. They probably still know me as Garage Girl. They've reached out to my coach before he's told me, being like, "Hey, how's Garage Girl doing?" So it's pretty funny.
I mean, just from that, I can tell that you have a lot of fun at Dean and that the
Yeah.
culture seems amazing and all of that. But I do have to ask, like, from the beginning of your freshman year, so preseason August, to say
Mhm.
now to near the end, if not at the end of spring season, how has the culture on your team shifted in a positive manner since you, I guess, joined the team?
Yeah, so when I came in, my coach recruited 10 girls. So we had a big incoming freshman class, and we didn't like kind of know what the culture was like or whatever, but it was very welcoming. The upperclassmen took us under their wings very supportively. They were there for anything that we needed. It was a great atmosphere. There's no drama. Like everything about it is so great, and we all understand like where we're coming from, especially on the mental side. um, where, you know, if we're losing a game or we just need there for like academic support or life support, they're always there for us. We actually have like a sister program. It's kind of like a big and little program, where we get paired with someone that's kind of similarly to yourself, and you're kind of just there. So you go through warm-ups together, you get paired doing stretches, and kind of just like being there for each other, like checking in. So it's really grown. And then we during the spring season, we went from 24 girls to 11 girls. So that was a big switch. Um, we did get extra reps and whatever, but it was more of we spent every single day together and just trying to build that bond and that team mentality together was really a big thing that we focused on in the spring season, as well as getting to the next level. So,
I mean, that last part is that's just such a big hump. I know many coaches who had to deal from going with pretty much full rosters where you can 6v6 every day in the gym to
oh
barely
yeah,
having enough to sustain a team energy wise. But
yeah.
I mean, it seems like you guys are getting through that quite well. I actually am friends with one of the people who transferred out, so
Hmm.
I kind of knew a little bit about that. But I mean, it seems like you're still in a positive manner. Seems like you're still lively. But kind of going off of that, even if it's a player that's left, a player that's graduated, who's a player that you've played with at Dean that you just absolutely look up to? It could be someone that's in the same class as you, upperclassmen, like I said, anyone, just anyone you just on the court, you're like, I want to be like that when I grow up.
Yeah, I really look up to Skylar Raskovitz. She's going to be a senior libero. Coming in, um, we definitely competed with each other. Uh, but she just has this graceful, holding her head up high, always positive mentality whenever, like even if we're losing, getting blown out, she's always in a positive manner. She's our captain, so she's truly everything that a captain embodies. And just her level of IQ on the court and knowing how to run the play before the play even happens is something that I've learned so much about. And you can like go to her with any question and she knows pretty much anything. So it being the freshman DS libero behind her and having her in front of me is something like is I'm so grateful for.
I mean, that's beautiful. And congrats to Sky on her 1,000 digs. She's approaching that
Yes.
100 aces. I know she's close. She'll definitely get it this
Oh
year.
yeah.
But
Oh yeah, she's getting there.
but kind of going off of that, obviously, like her getting 1,000 digs, great memory for her. But shifting it back to you, what's a memory from this past season and that you just will always remember, whether it was on the court with a teammate, off the court studying with a teammate, could be a dining hall moment, just something involving the team that you just were like, wow, this is the memory from the season.
Yeah, I think I can speak with for a lot of people on my team is that the game against Riviere was probably the highlight of the season. That was a huge win for us. We were not expected to win that game at all. Um, we kind of just before the game got together and was like, we can do this, like they're a good team, but we can do this. We have as much power as they do. It's just the mentality going in. And we came out there and we did what we had to do. And the energy that not only that our bench brought, but the student section brought really fueled us to like win that game. And it was almost not even as if it was a win for the team, but it was a win for like the whole gym. Like that's what it felt like. And I love that moment. Obviously, a win is something like that you feel good about regardless, but the fact that we had the students with us to support us and the energy that they brought really like pushed us ahead. So that was a really big win for us.
I definitely understand that feeling. So when I was at Sage for the fall season, we
Mhm.
needed to beat Geneseo to get into our first ever E8 championship. Um, had the best record in the E8 that we've had ever, and it was a big game. We weren't expected to win though, so because Geneseo had been a team that had upset multiple teams in conference, so we were expecting a 5 set battle, and we went out and we absolutely dominated our home court, swept, made playoffs. It was a great feeling. So I definitely get that feeling of, yeah, we definitely know you guys thought we weren't supposed to win, but we won anyway. So
Yeah.
suck it up and live with it.
Yeah.
Um, but I do kind of have to ask because you mentioned the student section, and I'm assuming the men's volleyball team at Dean is a big part of that cheering section.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so I have to ask, how's that connection at Dean? Because I know teams that, like, for example, Potsdam, where it's very close, very connected. They do pretty much everything together. Is that kind of like what it is at Dean, where you guys just support each other constantly? You're doing events together, stuff like that.
Yeah, we're very tight knit with the men's volleyball team. Our coach makes it a priority that we are close as a team because we are as a whole a program. Um, and obviously he coaches the women's and men's team. So whether it's we all show up to their game to support, or some people are doing book in line and all that stuff. We actually played beach together the other day, so we'll go out since it's getting so nice out. We'll go to like the local park and we'll play beach together. Um, but yeah, we're always supporting them. They're always supporting us. Like it's a very tight knit community. So
I mean, always love to hear that. That was definitely an aspiration when I was going through my coaching recruitment this
Mhm.
past spring. And I mean, if you could, even if you have zero fans, having that knowledge that your men's team will show up as to support you is it's a great feeling. Um,
yeah,
Kind of going back to though, backtracking, you mentioned the Riviera game as your, top favorite game. Having worked with a former Riviera alum, I can tell that the school is a big volleyball, so that must have been a big
oh
win.
yeah.
But even if it wasn't a win, who was your favorite like opponent? Not like I wouldn't say like player,
Mhm.
just team in general that you just had a blast playing against, whether they were like really tough and they gave you good competition, or it was maybe a team that maybe wasn't so tough, but their energy was just so contagious that you couldn't avoid smiling while on the court type thing.
Yeah, I think probably Bates would have to be like my favorite opponent just because I knew nothing about them going into the game. Um, we traveled up there, I think it was about like 6 hours to like Maine. So it was a long trip. But going into there, like I just saw girls across the court and they could play volleyball. Let me tell you, they could play volleyball. And just to see them run the ball and run their plays was something like I was like, "Oh my God. Like this is volleyball." And I loved every second of it. So yeah, and their energy was great. So,
I mean, I definitely. So when we were one team we played at Sage that really stuck out to me was Williams. And they had
mm,
been ranked the year before. They had made the Sweet 16 the year before. They lost a lot of key assets, including I think two or three All-Americans. So they weren't the
yeah.
same team, but like watching them warm up, all of us on the sideline were like, even if we lose this is gonna be a fun game to go back and watch to just learn
Oh yeah.
from. The tempo they run is insane. Um, but kind of going off memories, what's a volleyball memory from your career? It could be high school, it could be college. Obviously, you mentioned the garage drill thing, but I guess
Yeah.
we could focus more on like the playing aspect. Like what's maybe like it was an award in high school, or it was a game where you just absolutely went beast mode. What was
Mm.
just a volleyball on court memory that you will remember forever?
So my senior year of high school, I got the privilege to play with my sister, who was a freshman at the time, and my mom was our varsity assistant coach. Um, I can't tell you how fun that season was, but how hard it was to navigate where does where do we put the line of sisters and teammates? Um, and then my mom is a factor of her coaching the both of us. It'd be really funny. We would come home after a game and we'd be talking about it, and my dad's sitting there being like, "Enough, we're not talking about volleyball anymore." And we would just be like, "Oh." So it was really fun. And then like my final game, such a privilege, and honestly, it filled me up with, like, so much happiness that I got to spend at least a season playing on the same court as my sister, and now she's taken over for me, um, at my high school following in my footsteps, and she's only a sophomore, so I can't even wait to see where she goes from there.
I mean, that's I would have cried if I got to play. Unfortunately, I don't have a brother, but I have a sister
Yeah.
very into soccer. But
Mm.
I never got to experience the stop talking about volleyball because I'm the only one. But I got to college and all my roommates were volleyball players, so that's all that we talk
Oh, yeah.
about. So when people come over, they were always like, you guys should just calm down. We're like, no.
You know.
But kind of shifting from that, we have just a couple more questions to kind of finish up. And they're kind of fun questions. So the first one is, what's a pregame routine or tradition, whether it's on the bus to an away game or like right before the game starts, that you just absolutely love? It could be from you, from another teammate, because at
Mm.
Sage, our big tradition on the bus was playing Among Us. It took them
Oh my
about
lord.
3 months to convince me to play.
Oh
Um, they've done like fruit by the foot eating races.
oh
Shout
my
out
lord.
Anaya Kelly, our opposite at Sage. She absolutely every game, before every game, she's over in the corner making her TikToks, getting in her zone.
Yeah.
It's a really fun thing. So it could be a serious tradition, routine, or it could be something silly that you just love. It doesn't even have to be something you do.
Yeah. I would say something that I love that we did this year is before, we would actually, like, go out to play the game, during the, like, 4 minutes that we had before, we would all go to the locker room and putting on our jerseys, and then we would all come together and we would pray before we would, just relaxing and calming our bodies, and just having that moment where we're all, kind of linked together, holding our hands. We're all one, just there praying that nothing bad happens, that we'll have a tough mentality throughout the game. It's definitely something that I really loved about Dean and Dean Volleyball. It's something that I've never experienced before. And honestly, it did help us throughout games, just having that thought there that we were all one and we were all in it together. We would lose together, we would win together. Um, and then just like a funny one is that we during long bus rides, we would always play photo roulette with everyone on the bus, including our coach. So that was a really fun one.
I mean, what I love about that answer is it kind of shows the disparity of tradition and routine before pregame.
Yeah,
For example, like you guys, in our locker room are praying at Dean, and obviously that is what you guys do. But here at Sage, what they would do is they'd have dance parties,
yeah,
and right on the bench on the court. Shout out M. Friedel, one of the funniest people I've ever met. It just shows great disparity and how everything works out in the end in terms of your routine. You might not win the game, at least like, hey, I did something. And
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
prayer is always a beautiful thing. I do it before every game. I do it before I go to sleep. So that's definitely a beautiful way to kind of sustain that. But the final question I have for today is one that I'm trying to ask everyone I can. It's my favorite question. It's really fun. Who is your volleyball idol and why? Now, this could be an idol that's a professional player. It could be an idol that's, a coach from the past. I mean, I have a couple. Like my main idol is Whitney Bauer, as many people know.
Mhm.
Absolutely adore Whitney. Madeline Easterhazen, who's currently on the Atlanta Vibe. She's my idol
Mm,
because is very undersized she was very undersized for a Division 1 athlete. She's I
yeah.
believe 5'10", 5'11". I got to watch her warm up live. It was beautiful. She hit
Oh,
like 300 as an outside. In her
oh my
senior
lord.
year, averaged near the top for kills percent. I believe she was up to fourth or third, something like that, right behind Cardona. But who's like a volleyball idol that you just? It could be both. It could be, say,
Mhm.
someone you grew up playing with, and it could be a pro. Like, just who's someone that you look up to?
Definitely sticking to, like, a family aspect. I think my mom is probably my volleyball icon. She played in high school, she played at Plattsburgh, throughout her college career. She's very close with her college coach still. Like, I've met her before, we've gone on, like, breakfast dates before. she's actually started her own volleyball club. Shout out Western Connecticut Volleyball Club. Um, and she's just pushed through so much. She's a great volleyball player. She's coached me like through my entire life. Um, and she's now like improving what volleyball can actually be in my small town. So we've seen little girls from age of like 10 come in and are starting to play. And now we're growing, like the middle school has now a team. And now those middle school girls are coming to the club and they're improving so much. And I've actually started to coach there a little bit throughout my winter break. I would go up to Boston and I would help my mom out. And it's just kind of like a full like 360 of being like, oh, I was a player and my mom's a coach, but now me and my mom are coaching these girls who have so much potential and they have so much potential to like even grow. And just seeing like my mom put so much work into this club and to this community and to provide opportunities basically for these little girls who just want to play volleyball is something that I will forever be grateful for to see.
I mean, I absolutely love that answer. I never grew up with like a family member that was a volleyball idol, but I definitely get the feeling of having those younger players. So one of my jobs is I substitute at the elementary schools, and
Mm.
I've had so many of these fourth and fifth grade boys and girls come up to me and say, "Hey, I was a basketball kid, but you talk so much about volleyball that I started watching it, and now I want
Yeah.
to play." So it's definitely an amazing feeling. And shout out Plattsburgh again.
Yeah.
The head coach I was under at Sage, Roz, she played and was an All-American at Plattsburgh. So I mean,
Hmm.
small world we live in.
Yeah.
But I do have to thank you for coming on to the podcast. You are very
Thank you
well
for
spoken.
having me.
It was an absolute blast. Definitely we'll be in touch more often. Maybe we can do another interview down the line. Maybe during the
100%.
season, check in, see how the season's going. But have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Great
you
rest
so
of your night.
much.
And enjoy finals because I assume they're coming up.
Oh, they are coming. They are coming
Thank you so
soon.
much once again.
All right. Thank you for having me.